She walked into that room to silence. A black teenage girl, alone, surrounded by wealth, champagne, and cruel smiles. No one knew her name. They called her the maid's kid. They laughed. They whispered. Then the lawyer spoke one sentence, and every face in that room turned white. Maya stepped into the marble-floored office with the air conditioning biting at her skin. She hadn't dressed for luxury. She wore a faded blouse, jeans, and shoes that had seen too many rains. Her hair was natural, a halo of tight curls framing a face that carried more strength than anyone in that room could comprehend. 17. Poor. Black. That was all the room needed to decide who she was. They didn't know her story. They didn't care. They looked at her as if she had wandered into the wrong universe. An enormous chandelier glittered overhead. The smell of imported perfume lingered in the air. Crystal glasses clinked softly. Every seat was filled with the Almeida family. Expensive suits, rigid postures, and privilege that had never known hunger or fear. Maya stood alone by the door. Victor Almeida was the first to speak. "Who let the cleaning girl in?" he asked loudly, half laughing, half insult. Snickers followed. Champagne was lifted. Someone muttered, "Maybe she's here to scrub the floor." Maya didn't flinch. Her mother had taught her that silence could be armor. But inside, her chest felt tight. "Just breathe, Maya. Don't break now." Her gaze drifted to the empty chair in the center of the room. The seat meant for the lawyer. The seat from which every fate in this room would be decided. Christina, draped in gold jewelry that sparkled with cruelty, leaned toward her nephew and whispered, loudly enough for everyone to hear. It must be one of Eduardo's little charity cases. Pathetic. Probably here to beg for money. Laughter. More clinking glasses. Maya did nothing. She simply looked around the walls. Framed photos of Eduardo Almeida, travel memories, awards, newspaper headlines celebrating a titan of industry. 60 years of empire, carved from sweat and strategy. And not a single place for someone like her. Ricardo, Eduardo's eldest son and self-appointed heir to everything, straightened his designer tie. Someone escort her out before the lawyer arrives. This is humiliating. No one noticed the faint smile tugging at the corner of Maya's mouth. Because at that exact moment, the door opened. Enrique Garcia, in his 70s, walked in with a brown leather briefcase. His face was weathered, eyes sharp as a hawk. He didn't greet Maya last. He greeted her first. "Miss Maya," he said with respect. He gestured to the empty chair beside him. "Please sit here." The room froze. Victor nearly choked on his drink. Christina's fingers tightened around her purse until her knuckles bleached white. Ricardo's voice cracked. "Excuse me, Garcia, do you know this girl?" The lawyer gave a small nod. "You all should. This is Maya Oliveira, daughter of Dona Celeste." Murmurs. Eyes widened. The maid's daughter. Christina practically spat the words. What is a housemaid child doing at a private family while reading? Maya finally sat. She sat like someone who belonged. Straight back. Steady hands. Eyes forward. Inside, her heart pounded. But she had promised herself she would not cry today. Not after everything. Garcia clicked open the briefcase. A sealed envelope waited inside. "We are gathered for the reading of Eduardo Almeida's final will." Phone silenced. Chairs creaked. Patricia, the board influencer niece, lifted her phone and secretly snapped a photo of Maya. She posted it instantly. Hashtag intruder at the will. The maid's kid trying to hustle the family. Likes poured in. Cruel comments. Laughter. Maya said nothing. She watched the lawyer's hands. "Before I read the will," Garcia announced, "Eduardo left a video." Ricardo rolled his eyes. "My father loved theatrics. Can we skip to the inheritance?" But the lawyer was already pressing play. A large embedded screen lit up. Eduardo appeared. Old, thin, dying. But his gaze was fire. "If you are watching this," he began, "then I am gone. I imagine you're eager to know how I divided my estate." No one breathed. "But first," Eduardo said, voice steady, "tell me something." He looked at the camera. Can any of you tell me the name of Donna, Celeste's daughter? Silence slammed into the room. Christina pretended to study her nails. Ricardo stared at the floor. Victor rubbed his neck. Eduardo smiled sadly. I didn't think so. That girl has worked in our home for 5 years. None of you ever bothered to learn her name. Maya swallowed hard. Her eyes burned. Eduardo continued. I saw how you treated her. How you treat everyone who works for you. As if they were invisible. Disposable. The air grew heavy. Patricia lowered her phone, suddenly pale. Ricardo shifted, uncomfortable. No one yet understood that this was only the beginning. Because behind Maya's silence lay a story that would turn their world upside down. Eduardo's voice weakened, but his words sharpened. In recent months, I watched nurses, cleaners, drivers, and I watched you. His gaze on the recording seemed to pierce the room. What I saw broke my heart. He paused, then smiled, and then I noticed Maya. Maya's hands gripped the chair. Her throat tightened. She studied at night. She cared for her sick mother. She read the books in my library during breaks. Ricardo jumped to his feet. This is absurd. Illegal. The lawyer didn't blink. Everything is lawful, Mr. Ricardo. On screen, Eduardo chuckled. I know my son just said this is illegal. He always did like to predict the law. Ricardo's face drained of color. The video continued. I spent 3 months speaking to Maya. She told me her dream, to become a lawyer. Patricia tried to delete the cruel post she had made. Too late. It had gone viral. Hundreds of comments mocked her ignorance. Eduardo looked into the camera. This is Maya Oliveira, the daughter of Donna Celeste, who worked in our home for 15 years, until Christina cut her salary while buying her 4th imported car. Gasps. Christina choked. And Maya, Eduardo continued. The girl Ricardo once humiliated by making her kneel to clean spilled water while she had just learned her mother needed urgent surgery. Ricardo's shoulders slumped. The video ended. Garcia lifted another envelope. There's one more video. But first, the will. Victor exploded. A maid's daughter can't inherit our fortune. Maya finally spoke. Her voice was steady steel. Your family built nothing. Eduardo sold fruit in the market as a child. Everything here was earned. The only ones born with privilege are you. Silence. Garcia started reading. I, Eduardo Almeida, leave to Maya Oliveira 51% of Almeida Incorporos, my primary residence, and all properties in Appendix A, plus 20 million reais in investments. The room detonated. Ricardo roared. This is manipulation. She controlled a sick man. Garcia raised a calm hand. There are conditions. Breaths held. Maya will not control the company until age 21. Until then, the board will be managed by myself and Dr. Luisa Mendez. Christina snapped. Luisa Mendez? The doctor? What does she have to do with this? As if summoned, the door opened. A poised black woman entered in a tailored suit. She walked to Maya and smiled. Garcia explained. Dr. Mendez cared for Eduardo during his illness. She also witnessed how Maya cared for Donna Celeste after you fired her. Christina turned crimson. Dr. Mendez nodded. Celeste and I studied together. When I saw Maya in the hospital, I knew she was extraordinary. I introduced her to Eduardo. And so, the fateful encounter began. Flashback. 3 months earlier, Maya had begged Ricardo for an advance to pay for her mother's medication. He had humiliated her in front of executives. I don't deal with employee problems. If you can't afford medicine, find another job. Maya left in tears. On the service stairs, Dr. Mendez found her. She listened. Then she made a decision. She took Maya to meet her other patient, Eduardo Almeida. Back in the present, Garcia inserted another flash drive. On screen, Eduardo again. If you're watching this video, my family is contesting my decision. His voice was weak but certain. I was fully conscious. Maya did not manipulate me. She refused my offer at first. I had to convince her. He smiled. Look at yourselves. You inherit not because of merit, but because of accident of birth. The screen changed. A montage. Ricardo shouting at employees. Christina firing Celeste. Victor mocking an elderly driver. Patricia making racist jokes. Each clip landed like a punch. Eduardo had recorded everything. Dr. Mendez placed her hand on Maya's shoulder. Eduardo wasn't just building a case. He was giving Maya something more valuable than wealth, power to change the system. Because when Eduardo offered revenge, Maya had hesitated. I don't want them to suffer, she told him. I want them to understand. That was the key. Ricardo charged at Maya. I will fight this in every court. Security guards appeared at the walls. Maya's voice was calm. What right will you defend? The right to be cruel by default? The right to be born rich? Luisa opened her tablet. Eduardo prepared something special. An aerial photograph appeared. A slum. Christina scoffed. We don't know these places. Luisa smiled. You should. Your family owned them. Until today. Complete silence. Maya stood. I have already signed the papers. The lands have been transferred back to the families. Free of charge. Chaos. Shouts. Crying. Accusations. Maya didn't raise her voice. I don't want your money. I want justice. Garcia, read the next line. Maya's first act as majority shareholder was a compensation package for every employee wrongfully fired in the last 10 years. That will destroy us. Ricardo screamed. No, Maya said softly. It will repair us. Luisa switched the television. News footage. Former employees crying as they received back pay. Applause. Hugs. A transformation in real time. You destroyed us, Christina whispered. Maya walked to the window. No, the empire is being rebuilt. It will recover. This time with dignity. Ricardo spat. You have no experience. You'll fail. You're right, Maya said. That's why I won't run it. Garcia pressed a button. Doors opened. 5 people entered. Simple clothes, hard faces, seasoned hands. Meet the new board, Maya said. Workers Eduardo fired for trying to form a union. Carlos Mendez stepped forward. Hello, Ricardo. Remember me? 25 years in finance. Fired for suggesting profit sharing. Ricardo was speechless. Luisa smiled. It's already done. You still own minority shares. You will receive dividends. Attend meetings. Like everyone else. Ricardo collapsed into a chair. My father wouldn't have done this. He did, Maya whispered. Because he finally understood. Legacy is not money, but lives. Patricia stood. I'll go to the press. Destroy all of you. The screen lit again. A video of Patricia drunk, slurring racist insults at waiters. Maya's voice was ice. I have hours of this. Victor, once arrogant, now hollow, whispered. What do you want from us? Maya looked at him with compassion, not victory. I want you to learn what it feels like to have no power, to be judged for things you cannot change. Only then can you change. Luisa distributed folders. 2 options. Fight in court. We have lawyers ready for years of battle. Or accept a peaceful transition. What transition? Ricardo asked, defeated. You keep your homes and income, Garcia explained. In exchange, you complete a social awareness program. Volunteer work. Inclusion courses. A year seeing the world differently. And if we refuse? Christina challenged. No punishment, Maya said. Only consequences. The videos will be released. Lawsuits proceed. Your names will be tied to exploitation. The silence was suffocating. Finally, they understood. This wasn't a girl with a grudge. This was a revolution. Ricardo whispered. This will fail. You're a child. Maya smiled gently. You still don't understand. It was never yours. And it's not mine. It belongs to everyone who built it. She watched the world outside. It was already changing. 6 months passed. The Almeida headquarters, once a fortress of elitism, now had a community center on the ground floor. Kids learned coding. Women learned small business skills. The walls displayed art from local neighborhoods. Maya walked through the hallways, greeting every employee by name. Carlos reported, "Profits are up 12%. Productivity has never been higher." Dr. Louisa added, 300 families have received deeds. Cooperatives start next month. Maya smiled. She was 17, still in school, still caring for her mother, still learning law. But she belonged. Across town, Ricardo sat at a cafe. He stared at a billboard. Maya and the new board. Building a fairer future. His luxury car was gone. His suit sold. He had lost every court case. His reputation shattered. A notification buzzed. Opening, administrative assistant, social reintegration program. He considered it. Patricia crossed the street carrying materials for an anti-racism workshop. "Ricardo," she called. He looked up ashamed. "It's not punishment," she said. "It's healing. Maya doesn't want to destroy us. She wants us to grow." His eyes filled. At the company, Maya met international investors. Journalists waited. A French investor asked, "Why not punish them completely? They treated you terribly." Maya smiled. "Because punishment doesn't change people. Understanding does. Some are learning. Others, like Ricardo, are still on their way. We don't need to switch who holds the whip. We need to throw the whip away." They didn't know that when Eduardo first offered her power, she had said, "I don't want revenge. I want transformation." Eduardo had wept. He had found his heir. 1 year later, Maya stood at a podium. A banner hung above. The Eduardo Almeida Institute for Social Equity. Students, employees, community members, and in the front row, Dona Celeste. Healthy, proud. Next to her sat Christina, Victor, and Ricardo in his intern uniform. Maya spoke. "Prejudice isn't defeated by exposing the prejudiced. It's defeated by transforming the structure that allows prejudice to thrive. We create new systems, new opportunities, new futures." She looked at her mother. She looked at the world she had reshaped. The girl they mocked at the door had inherited everything, not money, but meaning. And she wasn't destroying the empire. She was rebuilding it, one life at a time. If this story moved you, remember this. Transformation doesn't begin with hatred. It begins when someone underestimated chooses compassion instead of revenge and changes the world.